I'm Stuart Fischman. This is Web Yeshiva, and this is the first of two sessions on how to make a sukkah. A sukkah has two. First, it's actually interesting that whoever picked out the slide, the sukkah in this picture has non-rigid walls. That itself is like a big question that actually we're going to talk about today. A sukkah has two parts. It has walls and has a roof. The roof is called sukkah because the roof of the sukkah has very specific rules. The walls also have specific rules, and today we're going to talk about the walls. And before you can even talk about the walls of the sukkah and the roof of the sukkah, there's another question which really needs to be talked about, especially as more and more people live in cities and they're not living in houses with a backyard, which is how a lot of people used to live. That's where can I put my sukkah? Where can I put my sukkah? Classically, I mean, if you grew up either in New York or here in Israel, in a house that had a yard, you put your sukkah in your yard, on your property. And that's really an important halacha. The sukkah cannot be, you have to have permission to put the sukkah where you're putting it. I've seen sukkahs in Israel built in parking areas. Good question. Do you have to get permission from your neighbors to put the sukkah there? It's like, before you even think about the halachas of where and what and who, where are you putting the sukkah? Are you putting it on your property or not? And if you're not putting it on your property, do you have permission to put the sukkah there? I found something on the internet. Where did it go? I thought I know I downloaded it. I know I downloaded it. No, I can't find it. This isn't it. I feel bad. It's in Israel. There's a city called Givat Shmuel, and the city of Givat Shmuel, they actually have it. You can go to the city's website, and download a permit to build a sukkah in a public park, which is really which is very important. But here's the Shulchan Aruch. How come I can't find anything? Ooh. Okay, and the Shulchan Aruch says, it's in Tafresh Lamed Zayin. Okay, we can do it from the Aruch HaShulchan. Now I feel bad. Hold on. I really... I'll do it from the Aruch HaShulchan. Okay. Here it is. Sif Hay. You have to have permission. If I cannot just go into someone else's sukkah and sit there, okay? And okay, but you can assume it that maybe he doesn't mind, but you shouldn't go into a sukkah without permission. Okay. Public property. You cannot just lechatchila put your sukkah in a park. all right, or on your neighbor's property, unless you have permission. Okay? And but if you do put your sukkah in the street, you can even make a bracha on it. But really, you have to get permission. Okay? It's very, very important. Get permission from, if you're going to put your, if you're going to do what this gentleman did, where did it go? The sukkah in the parking lot. Get your neighbor's permission. Get your neighbor's permission before you do this. Now, there's an interesting idea, which is in the Piskei, which is in this is from Rav Sternbach in his Chuvas van Hagos. About putting a sukkah in the street. With not sukkah makam shasim not lichol shoot. Building a sukkah where the local authorities say you can't build something. Okay? For example, I keep going back to this parking lot. Can I just plunk down a sukkah in a parking lot? So, Rav Sternbach says this. Maria Mama Mardidi Rav Tzvi Reisman Shlita. Sukkah be'ir shafichuka or shurcham asik not sukkah. You built your sukkah in a place where the city's ordinances say you cannot build a sukkah. And you can, and sometimes every now and then, tragically, there are, people just put up sukkahs randomly on a balcony, what's Hebrew called them mirpeset, on a porch. It can fall down. I mean, you look at this sukkah, and down here on the ground, you're okay. But that sukkah that's up there, the city might say, I want a building inspector to see that this, whatever is holding the sukkah up, that's the edge of the balcony of the building. And look how far out this sukkah projects. It's sitting on metal rods. And those metal rods go down to this metal rod. I don't know where that metal rod goes down to. The city employs municipal engineers to make sure that things are safe. And is that sukkah kosher? Okay. Or people have fire escapes. They build a sukkah on their fire escape. If your fire escape is supposed to be clear so people can run on the building in a fire. You can't build something there. If you build something where it's illegal to build, you're building on land that isn't yours. We saw Noach HaShulchan also. But for various reasons that we really can't get into, it's okay. But it's okay. If I build a sukkah on land that isn't mine, it's okay. We're not going to mitzvah b'avera. It's okay, all right? And you don't make a bracha. And some people say it's not, and Rabbi Yisha is going to Yishav Shamal Yashiv Zatzal, Shabona, Sukkah Makon, El Yesh B'Zal Chashash Gezel. If you build a sukkah on property that you're not allowed to build on, period, that might be gezel. Might be an act of theft. Okay? In Kasav V'Shut Ol Yosef, all people say it's not theft. So Rav Sternbach goes on and he makes distinctions between if the city objects to it for aesthetic reasons or because if it's truly a hazard. And he goes on and on and on. But it's something, he says, how can you build a sukkah in a street? Even if all the Jewish neighbors agreed, and the Magen of Amsterdam, the Jew, he was writing in Poland. The Poles certainly don't want to see Jews putting up their sukkahs in their streets. And he goes on, I can say something now in Eretz Yisrael. Also, it's sukkah b'shus harabim. I would say it's us that put a sukkah in the street. And the non-observant Jews are also, it's their street also. And they're not waiving their right to the street, so you can put up a sukkah. And again, I go back to the parking lot. The parking lot is not your personal parking lot. The parking lot belongs to everybody. Everybody has a right to park. And if I put a sukkah here, I've taken away their right to park a car there. By what? How am I allowed to deprive someone of their rights so that I can do a mitzvah? Now, everybody in the city is observant, and I'm permitted to assume that they're happy to see that someone's doing a mitzvah with their public property. But in a large city, when not everybody is observant, I can't. That's not a valid assumption. Okay. So he wonders about this. So he goes on. If I live in a fraud. Well, the vast majority of people who live in a fraud are observant Jews. I may safely assume that my neighbors will not object if I would put a sukkah in the street where they're parking their cars. Okay? It gets considered a valid assumption in halacha. Okay, but if a city, if there's a minority that aren't willing to waive their rights, I could say the majority rules. No, they're not determining halacha. This is a question of rights. Everybody has property rights, Miss Man. It's not that they're determining the halacha. I have to take their feelings into account. I'm going to unmute you. Yeah, I'm not Miss Man. It's not that they're determining the law. I need to, if in this street, I don't know where this picture was taken. If there are people in this street who are Machalei Shabbat Chalila, they have a right to the street also. They have a right to put their car here. I don't have a right to deprive them of the ability to park a car by putting up this structure for 7 days in a parking lot. You understand? Hello?
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
I guess something bothers me about it because, there's I can think of different areas in Valacha where we presume that, we presume like a reasonable standard of a Jew that wants to keep halacha. So.
No, this is property law.
Yeah. Sure.
This is purely a question of property law.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, there is an assumption that let's say, for example, I leave my siddur in shul. Someone else can use my siddur if they watch it carefully and they put it back, because there's an assumption that people are happy to know that their property is being used to do a mitzvah. But can I really make that assumption if I put my sukkah in this parking area? Can I assume that the non-observant Jews who also live in my city, are they willing to waive their use of this parking spot for 7 days? And especially parking, it's hard to find parking sometimes. It's not a valid assumption. That's all.
Well, I guess a park may be a better thing to think about because, like, a parking lot is designated for a car, so I can see that even if in a religious, but a park is really, designated for people's enjoyment. So you're not really with a park. What are you depriving somebody of? Like, if you put it in a park, like what's the
Even the
problem?
park, they have a right to walk there. I took away space. They take this is taken very seriously in the postcam. I've taken away space. For example, there's another picture here, and that's I was hoping to find that letter, this form from the Uriah of Givat Shmuel. Givat Shmuel actually has this very well done. If you want to put up a sukkah in the park, you fill out a form, and they'll either give you permission or not. You tell them where you want to put the sukkah. Like here's a sukkah on the beach. Prior to build a sukkah this big, I don't know if this is Yafo. Where I don't know where this is. Might be Yafo, Akko. I don't know. See stone buildings. They probably got whoever built this sukkah had to get permission. Okay, and I feel bad. I don't find and like it's Givat Shmuel. They have a form. Oh, it's an interesting form. I want to just show it to you. Sukkah Zealot, Givat Shmuel, permit. I'm not going to waste people's time. I really don't want to waste people. I don't want to waste people's time. But that's it. That's the first time I'm talking. You have to get where are you putting your sukkah? If you have your own yard, that's nice. If you live in a building, like an apartment building, the Agudal that is in Israel. I'm speaking about Israel primarily because I live in Israel. There's something called Agudal Taputa Dior. They organize like the real estate laws, the rules for people who live in apartment houses, how to get along, and they have. Let's see, stuck in the yard. They have a form to fill out also. If you want to put your sukkah in the building's parking lot, they have a form that you have to fill out to get permission. If you get permission, you can put the sukkah there. If you don't get permission, then you're depriving people of their space. And that's just wrong. Okay, that's just the first thing I want to get across. Where do you put your sukkah? Okay, you have to put a sukkah where you have permission to put a sukkah. Rabbi Yosef and his Yalkut Yosef. That I have here. Where did it go? Where's my Yalkut Yosef? He has like a summary of the rules for building a sukkah. Okay. A sukkah tzricha להיות משלוש תפנות וסכך. 3 walls with schach. התפנות כל תלי הסוכה מחיצותיה. 3 walls. Also, כל דבר made with a roof. This is very important. A sukkah has to be stable. And the Gemara's phrase for stability is it stands in a wind. The wind's not going to and it's not just that the wind is not going to blow it down. The wind won't shake it. Rav Yosef and Moshe Feinstein both objected to sukkot with cloth walls.
Yeah.
And when I look at this picture, I wonder if they would have approved, or if Moshe Feinstein or Rabbi Yosef would have approved of this sukkah. Now, a lot of people like the classic wooden sukkah, all right? I mean, if this is your sukkah, then you have to have a place to put these walls when sukkah is over. And people who live in apartments don't have storage room for these kinds of walls. So there is a huge demand based on necessity. This is just like, I don't know why the website's so difficult today.
The Arabs.
I don't know why they're giving me grief for the opening of files today. So you go back to here, cloth walls. So these pipes up here, these sukkot that have cloth walls, ideally, and there are different companies that market. In Israel, prefabricated sukkot are a huge industry. The best sukkah, if you can use a cloth wall, is to buy this frame that has these metal bars. And these metal bars create something called, there are 4 bars. I'm counting the bottom one. 1, 2, 3, 4. They create something called lavud. And I'll put that on, I'll write that out for you because it's really a very important term on Sukkot. I'm typing lavud. This is called lavud. Are you all familiar with lavud? Have you heard that phrase before?
Yes.
Has anyone not heard of lavud? Okay, maybe some people listening have never on the archives have never heard of lavud.
Yeah, no, I did not
Lavud,
hear that. Yeah.
what?
I haven't heard of this.
Okay, lavud. Okay, there.
It looks like the sukkah that we got.
That's it. I'm going to tell you why this is good. Okay, there are different kinds of sukkot on the market. A wall has to be solid. Okay, and again, let me go back to the wooden sukkah. This is my wooden sukkah. There. These are walls. That's a wall. That's a wall. Okay. This is solid. This is solid. There's a halacha Moshe Sinai. This is a halacha halacha Moshe Sinai means you can't find a pasuk for it, but it works. Min Torah, like my tefillin are black. The Torah just says, doesn't say what color to make the tefillin. The ritzuot of my tefillin are black. Doesn't say that anywhere in the Torah. It's halacha Moshe Sinai. That's how Hashem taught Moshe to make tefillin. That's what Hashem told us. I need a wall. I need a wall that's not going to move in the wind. This sheet and this wooden sukkah, this is not a wall. Why isn't it a wall? Because it's going to move in the wind. There's a sway to it. This is a wall because it stays in its position. I go back to the slide from the shear. This cloth is not a wall. And Moshe Feinstein and Rabbi Yosef both say, even if I tie it to the top frame and I tie it to the bottom frame, so it's not going to blow away completely. The fact is that it moves in the wind. Moves in the wind. That's not a wall. What's the wall and the best collapsible, foldable sukkot? I gotta go back here, my frame. These metal bars don't move in the wind, correct? Metal bars don't move in the wind. Metal bars stay where you put them. If I have 4 metal bars within a given distance, and that given distance, according to Rabbi, is the Gemara. What? I heard someone talk. Someone say something? And any question? Are you all with me?
Yes.
These metal bars don't move in the wind. If I have, and they're within a space called 10 tefachim, and Rabbi Yosef says that the 10 tefach, and tefach is 8 centimeters. Yes. Okay. 8 centimeters. You can check that. Let's just find Yalkut Yosef again, just to make sure I'm quoting him correctly. Okay. 10 tefachim. Here it is. 10 tefachim is I'm highlighting a few, is 80 centimeters. So if you buy a sukkah that's made from pipes, let's go back to our frame. Then this is my wall, even though I see gaps, right? There are gaps, but Lava teaches me that this is viewed as a wall. That's a wall. Halachically, this is a wall. So this sukkah is kosher because there's a wall over there, and there's a wall over here, and a wall over here. These are the walls. The cloth that goes over the walls, it's just nice to give you privacy. When I go to this sukkah, see, their walls don't even go to the roof. So this sukkah, this is cloth. If you look carefully, these are straps. This is their lovewood, 1, 2, 3, 4, going up to there, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are poskim who say, and we'll see the Shulchan Aruch in a minute, that these straps are very, very permanent. They're solid, and they don't sway in the wind because they're drawn tightly and they're locked in with metal buckles. There are poskim who say that you can go with that. There are poskim who say you can go with that. But you get the impression from Rabbi Yosef and Moshe Feinstein that they would not have gone with this. And that's why the original the companies in Israel were selling the sukkot made from pipes. They were selling sukkot with metal lovewood bars. This is terrific. This is a terrific sukkah. This is a terrific sukkah. Okay? I would say that, no, that's not where'd the other picture go, that this sukkah, where's my Florida sukkah? This sukkah is less optimal. I mean, I don't know who markets it, but their lovewood is using cloth straps, and cloth isn't lovewood because cloth sways. Now they'll tell you that, well, if you draw it really, really tight with metal buckles, and it's permanent. So we'll see the Shulchan Aruch, and you'll see why Rabbi Yosef and Moshe Feinstein objected. This is the Shulchan Aruch. A sukkah, also sukkah zobein ha'ilanos, ilanos tefanos. Okay, I have my sukkah, and for walls, I want to use trees. But not the fanotla. The trees are the walls. If these trees are strong, and I'm not afraid that the wind is going to blow the trees down. I'm concerned that a usual wind will not cause them to sway. Motion, not blowing down, just having, if those trees would wave back and forth in a wind, that's not a wall. So what do? So you want your trees, and then you got bundles of straw, and you tie them together so the wind can't move them. That sukkah is kosher. Al Kain, therefore, Ein Nacham. Rabbi Yosef points this out. He doesn't say usser. He says it's not proper. It's not proper. It is not proper to make all of the walls from curtains of linen without reeds. Reeds are rigid. If I would use bamboo poles as my lovewood bars, I'd be fine. If I'm going to use cloth walls, you got to get bamboo, something stiff. Even though you tied those curtains to the frame of the sukkah very well. Why? Because if I'm looking again, let's look at this Florida sukkah. These straps in and of themselves are not rigid. They're rigid because they pull tightly on them. Well, Miss Man, horizontal is simpler than I have to mute because people are talking. If I'm going to use vertical bars for lovewood, I'd have to have a bar every 24 centimeters. I would need a lot of bars. I can either get by with 3 vertical horizontal bars that go across the frame, but an example of vertical bars, okay, is here. Open and share, not cloth walls. Where's my balcony? get you another picture. WebYeshiva.org sukkah. We had the picture a second ago. I had a good picture here. I'll show you a picture of what you get. Let's explain this. Here. This would be Lovud. This is vertical Lovud, Miss Man. Okay, do you see that? But that's a lot of bars. So first of all, if you do this on your pesach, this would be puzzle anyway because of the overhang from the roof. So you're not under the schach. But open and share. But here, this is also vertical Lovud. Okay, but I have a bar. I don't have any gaps here of 8 centimeters. It's simpler if I'm building a sukkah prefab. It's easier to use horizontal bars. Okay, Miss Man? Okay, she sent me okay. All right. So cloth walls are a very, very big problem. A very big problem. And the people who are marketing the cloth walls with cloth Lovud straps, not that simple. It's not that simple. One posek who sort of gave his approval to cloth walls is of Moshe Sternbach and his Ma'adim Uzmanim. Okay? And so he has a long discussion of it. And he says, Kayam no again l'shtemesh b'sadidim. People are making sukkot with cloth walls. The Shulchan says his concern is not so much for the swaying that the walls might become partially detached. Shlomi Dr, you won't notice. But you might beacon heitev. Your neighbor's sukkah will right into the street. Oy vey.
Okay. We live in Netanya, and there's sometimes very strong winds.
Oh,
yeah,
that's something. Okay,
yeah.
right to the street. No, even I live in a frat. We're 900 meters, but we don't get a wind like that. Anyway, so if Moshe Sternbach says people are making sukkot with cloth walls, maybe the only concern is that the cloth wall might become partially detached. But if you really fasten your cloth walls to the frame, above and below and at the sides, it's not going to detach. And that's why people aren't concerned. But he says, avoid the cloth walls. But I would say again that cloth walls in and of themselves are not good. If you buy a prefab sukkah, make sure, I really, really advise this, that your sukkah frame, and where's that picture again? Has metal Lovud bars. If you have metal bars, that's your wall, and then ironically, you don't even need the cloth at all. Because these bars are the wall because of the halacha of Lovud. Cloth is nice; it gives you some privacy. But that's cloth, and just it's something that's really important. Like you go to a restaurant, and people have made this observation. People check the Tudat Kashrut on Sukkot, but you have to check the sukkah that you're eating in. You have to check the sukkah. And the sukkah is not less important than kashrut. There's a mitzvah to eat in a kosher sukkah. And you have to check what kind of Lovud and they all have cloth walls. You have to check what's the lavud. Where's the lavud? Are they metal bars? And this Rabbi Yosef says in Yechavedat, just show you his conclusion. The Sikum, summing it up. In lots of mechitza shel tefillah sukkah masim yard sharuf mitzvah nederotam. You cannot make your sukkah from cloth walls because the cloth wall causes they sway in the wind. A wall that goes back and forth in the wind, that's not a wall. Even if one out of the three is cloth walls, it's puzzle. If you're making cloth walls without rigid poles, such as the rigid loved bars, don't do that. You have to make, people should be made aware. Their sukkah is puzzle. The sukkah is puzzle. There's an anthology, it's called Piskei Tshuvot. Piskei Tshuvot has all of the opinions. Here it is. Yesh Kosfim, Shonim, Bachronim. There are those who say, okay, there are all sorts of ideas. What puzzles the cloth? Okay. Don't use cloth walls unless you have something rigid on three sides that's 10 tefachim high, and that's lavud. Okay, now he makes a point. Okay, kosher al chavalim asmuchim zelazeh. He goes for ropes. Okay, and that's his kula. That's where you see the Florida sukkah, the cloth straps. I can use ropes for lavud if I pull them tight. And just to see who supports that idea, I got a hang up for this, for the cloth wall ideas. Where'd we go? Cloth walls, shoot Rav Pa'alim. Okay. So we'll see. Okay, hold on. So Miss Lynn, Ilni Jacob. I see in the background here is like the floral metal frame with a middle metal brace. Parts are straps tied to the frame, 10 frag tied to the frame. Rabbinic family. Some people will go for that. I'm not saying that's Rav Sternbach. Okay, don't go. I'm not meaning anybody. Rav Sternbach says that it could be that there are people who say that as long as you can be absolutely sure that it's not going to detach, you're good. And there's the Piskei Tshuvot, and based on the Rav Pa'alim, you can use ropes. Okay? He says chavalim. You can use ropes. So that's for your sukkah, Miss Lynn, the only Job. Ropes count as good as metal bars. I'm not sure if Rabbi Yosef or Rabbi Moshe Feinstein agreed with that, but maybe yes, because they're specially designed not to be detached. All right, that's cloth walls. Just get that over with. Another halacha is, okay, so let's say if you're building a sukkah from wood, where's my wooden sukkah? Where are you, wooden sukkah? Okay, your wooden sukkah, obviously you're going to put up the walls and you're going to put up the schach. I've seen this on some people who have metal frame sukkahs. They want to get the schach on first before the walls. I want to know why they do that, I've seen them built that way, and that is a sort of a problem, which we'll talk about. So I'll just get to that now. Halach and Shulchan Aruch. Someone's sukkah is up already, Miss Lineal Neat Joe. You see in the backyard that there's a sukkah?
Yes, it was used last year and it was never taken down.
Interesting. Where do you live?
I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland.
And what are you doing in the winter?
Stay warm.
What about the sukkah?
Sukkah was left up all through the winter. It's still in good shape.
Remarkable. All right. That's interesting. The sukkah stood up the whole year. Wow. Okay. If it works, it works. All right.
I think you still have to lift up the schach and put it back down.
Next week we'll talk about the schach. They were talking about walls. Okay. Next week is the schach. Okay. It's with the stay up all winter. Very, very interesting. All right. So if you're not in Silver Spring, Maryland, and you take your sukkah down and you're going to rebuild it, that's an idea of the sukkah. The sukkah is a structure put up for shade. It doesn't have to be like for the shame mitzvah. I have been. If you're, let's say, traveling in Africa and you're passing by a barn with a thatched roof, that's a sukkah. It doesn't have to be built for a mitzvah. Ramaz says, don't put up the schach before you build the walls. So even if you put up one wall, you're okay. Okay? Ein lasos schach kodem atfanos. Ve'inem b'shar shu otza schach ya b'aseh l'shem tseil and ohel. What's puzzle for a sukkah conceptually? It has to be there to give shade to humans. If I go to some place where they use thatch for roofing material and someone has a warehouse where they keep, I don't know, books with a thatched roof, that schach wasn't made to give shade. That's just an enclosure for someone to keep their books dry. That's not a sukkah. It has to be the shamed sail. Ohel has to be a structure for a person. That's an interesting technical thing. So if I would go in here, where's my sukkah frame? All right, I need a structure. Okay. If I would put the schach over here, I'm going to make green. If I would start that's too, okay. And you can't see my green because it's against the green background. If I put up a roof before the walls, then that roof isn't really the roof of a structure. A structure means 4 walls or 3 walls. And the schach is very important that the schach is the covering for a structure. And if it's not the covering for a structure, then it's puzzle. So first you have to have the walls, so you have the basic structure. Then you put the schach on top of the walls. That's what the Ramah says. Okay? That's the Ramah. Okay? If I put up the roof before I put up the walls, that means the schach was not made for a structure and it's becoming a structure after the fact, which is invalid. Adefanos. He must have come puzzle. If we put up the schach before the walls, many poskim say it's puzzle even b'diavad. So put up your walls, put in your loved bars, or use your loved straps, then put up the schach. And then you're okay. All right. So what else is there to talk about? The cloth walls, wall for a schach. Something interesting. This man mentioned a sukkah that blew away, and because it's windy in the Tanya. The sukkah has to be able to stand for a week. Now, it has to be good for a week. If it's really that windy in the Tanya, then you may, and if it's to be expected that your sukkah will, how often does sukkah blow away in the Tanya? How often does this happen, Mr. Man?
Okay, this was like one of the Sukkot of many, and it was at the end of Sukkot. And and the thing is, yeah, I know that when Sukkot was over, it blew away. But what we have is like we have two apartment buildings, and between them, because they're two together, it chokes. It's like a wind tunnel. So
yes.
that's why. So it could be windy, but also that it has another effect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. To talk about that next week. So next week we're going to talk about that. Because it is talked, but I never took it that seriously because I thought if it never gets that windy in a frat in Beit, I never heard of a sukkah blowing away in a frat. And we're like the highest point, and we get some pretty serious winds.
Oh.
Wind tunnel, sukkah blow away. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Sukkah blow away. That's an interesting question. Okay. The sukkah has to last for a week. So Rabbi Yosef has this. Hello, someone else had something to say?
Haya wrote a question in the chat.
Yeah, it's a sukkah.
Here it is. Oh, it says a square metal frame with no supporting bars between the four corner pole top bottom metal frame. Canvas I wrote to the bottom frame. According to I would okay, Miss. Yeah, okay. Look, I'll be honest. Rabbi Yosef and Ramosha Feinstein would not have been happy with that at all. Ramosha Sternbach says it works. But that was then and this is now.
Okay, thank you.
That was then and this is now. When I was a little kid, I remember they had the first pipe sukkah. There was something called the Spiro Foundation. I was a little kid. I want to see if they still exist. Spiro Foundation. They were giving out these sukkot in America. Spiro Foundation sukkah. See if anybody. If it's not in Google. No. Okay, here, Good at Yisrael of America. Let me see what they're selling. Yes. Oh, wow. There we go. This is ancient. This is really an ancient thing, a voice from beyond. Let me see if I can get this. If I can get this, I'll be really, really happy. What's this? Oh, now I can't find it. They say that. Here it is. Wow. Oh, but it's on page 30. I have to download this page. That's what Messiavitz is talking about. I remember this when I was a little kid. I'm really happy you brought this up. Wow, it was like a blast from the past. Cloth walls. Okay. Save. Is it here now? Yes. Oh, this is what Ms. Spiro remembers. I'm pretty sure of it. Open and share. Wow. I never thought I was going to think about that in a very long time. Wow. I got to find it. Hold on. You'll see this, Mr. Renee will remember. You'll know what I'm talking about. Here we are. It's a very big file, so it's going to take a minute to load. Okay. I have to go to the very last page. It's an advertisement. Last chance to order a prefabricated sukkah. You see that, Miss Yavitz?
Yes, yes.
That's it.
Yeah,
The lifetime easy to assemble portable sukkah designed by the Spiro Foundation.
yeah. Just like it.
And I saw their sukkot. Okay. Only $102. Very detailed assembly sheet. We put together in 30 minutes.
Boy.
Okay. They were selling these sukkot, and that's why they asked of Moshe Feinstein about cloth walls,
Yeah,
because they didn't have lovwood bars. But they were made. That was it. This is what you had, Miss Yavitz. You had the Spiro Foundation sukkah.
yeah. In South Africa.
And this was in America.
Yeah.
So
It was
something similar.
Yes.
Something similar. The lifetime easy, and we kept this in our basement. Lifetime easy, similar portable sukkah designed by the Spiro Foundation. And then they asked Moshe Feinstein, what about, because the Mechaber, when you go back to the Shulchan Aruch, it's really a very interesting point. Why does the Shulchan Aruch say we have to go back to the Shulchan Aruch?
Ich kann ihn noch ein Stündchen begleiten,
There you go. Here we are.
den Alexander.
He says, okay, someone's talking.
Sag's mir Bescheid, ja? Ich warte auf deinen.
He doesn't say usher. He says it's not right. Because it might detach and you won't pay attention to it. You won't notice it. So the Spiro Foundation sukkah, the canvas had these metal eyelets, and everything was like threaded together really, really solid. So it really wasn't going to detach. That's what Moshe Sternbach makes the point. It's not going to detach. If the Mechaber is only worried about about the wool detaching, this isn't going to detach. But Rav Moshe Feinstein and Rav Avad Yosef both said what's also important, what defines a wool is rigidity. It can't sway in the wind. And the cloth and the canvas and the Spiro Foundation wasn't pulled that tightly that it wouldn't sway in the wind. And that's why now in Israel, when they market these sukkot with metal pipes, again, they go for metal pipes that have lovwood bars. These do not sway in the wind at all. They're rigid. The Florida sukkah example that missed job, somehow miraculously, the sukkah stands through the whole winter. And I just think it is amazing. Okay? Because I just think about the winters here. If that stands in the winter, wonderful. Even the schach stands there. I have to ask her, Miss Job, where'd she go?
No, of course, not the roof, not the schach, but the frame.
So it's just
is
all frame.
metal.
The frame. I thought you meant what's
The
not the
frame,
schach.
and then the straps, and then the canvas tent over it. All of that remained up.
Oh, the canvas will stay. The straps, if they're really good canvas, will stay. And you rolled up the schach. Okay. Okay. I thought you were looking at the schach the whole. Okay, now I feel better. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. But to get back to the sukkah that has to stand for a whole week. Rabbi Dr. was asked, I never saw this, an inflatable sukkah. Anybody ever see an inflatable sukkah? Hello?
No.
What?
It's so cute.
Apparently they're somewhere. They asked apparently someone's making inflatable sukkot. Are they kosher? Okay. Now it's not going to last the whole week. All right. And that's the important idea that the wind doesn't blow it down. That's why I'm thinking about this man's wind tunnel in Netanya. Was if it's so common that between those particular buildings, the wind just comes through in the funnel effect, it's an issue. Okay, so as Rabbi Yosef say about inflatable sukkah. Now I've seen inflatable sukkah. Lachim stachel, they put stach on it. Inflatable sukkah, it's attached to an air compressor. It keeps it inflated, right?
Also wird das so weitergehen.
And let's say there'd be a power outage.
Moment, aber
The sukkah will deflate.
Ist ja weiter. Ist ja das Ding.
That would be very bad.
Also wer uns noch
Right? That would be very bad. So do I say that this sukkah has the necessary permanence because it can't stand by itself without the air compressor? This author writes, why shouldn't I say that this sukkah can't last for a whole week? Right? My sukkah I nail together. My sukkah doesn't stand by itself. It's held together by nails and screws. Why is the air compressor, which is external to this vinyl shell, different than the wooden panels of my sukkah that are held together by screws and nails, right? Same thing. And everybody agrees that wooden sukkah is kosher. So he's inclined to say that it's kosher. Because I don't think the air that's holding up this sukkah is any different from the nails and screws that hold up a wooden sukkah. So that's that for today. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Yes, next week could you look into sukkahs that are built on windy roofs and have to be weighted down with sandbags and
That's it. Yeah, that's the.
And also an eye bolt,
yeah.
also an eye bolt in the concrete that was changed to an eye bolt in the concrete.
That's it. That's a very serious question, and we'll talk about that next week.
Thank you. There are a lot of new issues that you brought up that I never knew were issues. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. No, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Sukkot,
Rabbi Fischman.
there's the Gemara goes to a story. That's basically for when Rabbi Akiva was traveling on a boat with various Tanaim, and he built a sukkah on the boat, and his sukkah blew down. And they said, "So where's your sukkah, Akiva? Where's your sukkah, Rabbi Akiva?" The wind took it away, and that's the whole thing about there's windy places. Where are you in a windy place? How much permanence do you need in a windy place?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for your time. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Bye-bye.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.